Hi, fourth graders. Mrs. Hinterliter here, bringing you a mini lesson for Chapter 4, Lesson 5 on line plots. Today, you're going to help me and Howard figure out how many surveys took longer than 2/12 of an hour. So let's take a look at this problem together. Howard gave a piece of paper with several survey questions to his friends. Then he made a list to show how long it took for his friends to answer the survey. Howard wants to know how many surveys took longer than 2/12 of an hour. So before I do anything, I'm going to underline longer than 2/12 of an hour because that is the most important information from this question. Howard wants to find out not only how long it took all of his friends, but he wants to find out who took longer than 2/12 of an hour. So here is his data. He asked a few friends, and this is the data that he came up with. Time for surveys in hours: 1/12, 3/12, 1/12, 2/12, 6/12, 3/12, and 5/12. So before we can make our line plot, I like to always get organized. So I made a small chart right here. It lists out all of the different times in hours, and I want to create just some tallies. So that way when I create my line plot, it's just that much easier. So 1/12, when I look back at my data up top, how many 1/12 do I have? Well, 1, 2. So I will put 2 as my tally for 1/12. 2/12, 1. 1 as my tally. 3/12, 1, 2. So 2 tallies for 3/12. 4/12. I don't have any 4/12, so I'm just going to leave that one blank. There are no tallies for 4/12. 5/12. For 5/12, I have 1. And for 6/12, I have 1. Okay, so now that I've organized my data from smallest to largest in a tally chart, I'm ready to create my line plot. So right over here, I'm going to draw my line, okay? At the bottom, I'm going to put the title, okay? And the title that I'm measuring is time for surveys. And I'm going to put in hours so that we know what kind of measurement we're working with. It's time for surveys in hours. Okay, now my data points for the bottom are going to be the fractions of time. So I have 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, 5/12, and 6/12. Those are the times that we're working with. Okay, now I'm basically going to take my tallies and create X's above the times. Okay, so let's take a look here. If I have 2 tallies in my 1/12 tally chart, I'm going to then take my 2 tallies and I'm going to create X's above the 1/12. Now, if we did this for all of them, which we're going to do, we would be able to see that 4/12 isn't going to have any X's. There's no tallies, so that means there's no X's. We are just going to skip over 4/12. But in order, we have 1 tally for 2/12, 2 tallies for 3/12. Like I said, skipping 4/12, and then 1 tally for 5/12, 1 tally for 6/12. And that is our line plot right here. But we're not done, because if we look back in the problem, we do have a question to answer. Howard wants to know how many surveys took longer than 2/12. He wants to know how many took longer than 2/12. Well, if 2 people took 1/12, that's not longer than 2/12, so I don't need to know about these guys. If 1 person took exactly 2/12, that's great, but I want to know who took longer. So I don't need to know this either. What I want to look at is I want to find the data points of 3/12 through 6/12, because that's going to tell me who took longer than 2/12 to complete it. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how many people took longer than 2/12 to complete the survey? Good. 4 people. Because we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those 4 data points, or those 4 people, took longer than 2/12 to complete the survey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for dropping in on this short mini lesson on line plots. Have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon.